Did you know you can create custom role-based access control rules in Microsoft Azure? Let's get right into it. So identity and access management are on a lot of people's minds these days, especially with all the cyber breaches happening. That being said, when it comes to identity and access management, there is a key phrase that stands out, and that is called the principle of least privilege. So what that means in a nutshell is to provide the minimum amount of permissions to a specific user or account to do its task. So when it comes to Azure, there are built-in or vanilla role-based access control rules in order to allow us to achieve least privilege as far as possible. However, these vanilla rules don't always go as far or as custom as we would like them to be. So, the Azure platform allows us to create our own custom role-based access control rules and apply them at the different levels. For example, the management level, the subscription, or even the resource group level. So let's head over to the Azure portal and see how we can create our very own custom role-based access control rules. Alright, so now that we have signed into the Azure portal, now what we need to do is we need to go and create that custom RBAC role. So there are a few places that we can assign this custom RBAC role scope to, and one of them will be the subscription level, and that's exactly what we're going to target in this demo. So let's go on the left hand side, we're going to go and choose subscriptions, and we're going to choose our demo subscription. And on the left hand side, there's a tab called Access Control, or IAM, which stands for Identity and Access Management. We're going to click on that. And on the top, there's a plus button that says Add. And right at the bottom, it says Add Custom Role. So let's go ahead and choose that. All right, so this brings up a few configuration settings, that we can configure. So under basic, we can give it a name and a description, which is fine. And right at the bottom, there are baseline permissions. So there are 3 ways that we can create this custom RBAC role. So the first will be clone a role. We also have the ability to start from scratch and also start from JSON. And start from JSON is Json Format. And in the old days, that is what you would use, to create these custom roles. And you would use PowerShell and you would link it to, the Json format. And that's how you will create custom roles. However, Azure has improved over the few months or years. And, we have now an option to do it a lot easier. So what we can do is we can actually just choose a clone a role. But first, let's just give it a name. So let's just say, superior contributor. And we're going to say clone a role. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop down and we're going to choose the contributor role as the base template. So let's go and click next. And here we can see we've got the permissions tab. So there are 2 important things to understand here. So the first will be the permission type. So you have 2 actions here. You've got your actions and your not actions. So actions are what is allowed within this role. And the not actions are actions that are specifically denied, like a blacklist. And how it usually works with all Microsoft products is that, the denies always take preference over the allows. So if I have an action that says I allow everything, but I've got not actions, these not actions will take preference over the allow. So what we then can do is let's remove one of these not actions. So we can say Microsoft.authorization everything delete. And if I remove this, then I will be able to delete everything because it's not denied. All right, so now that I've removed one of those, let's click on next. So we can always drill down into more granular detail, for example, resource groups, but I'm going to leave this at the subscription level. Next, we have the Json format, and what this does is the Azure portal actually just generates this JSON template or this Json format with all the information that you've already inputted, under the basic and the permissions tab. So we don't have to do this from scratch, seeing that we already used the contributor template as default and we just removed some of the not actions. And lastly, we have the review and create. And what we did is we say, okay, well, we're going to call this superior contributor and we just removed one of the not actions. So let's go ahead and click on create. Alright, so now you can see it says you have successfully created the custom role superior contributor, and it will take a while just for replication to take place. So that's 100% fine. Let's click on OK. Alright, so I've given it about 5 minutes. So let's head over to the subscription level and we can go to access control, and we're going to go on roles, which is the third option. And what it's going to show us is all of the roles, the vanilla roles, the built-in roles. But what we can do is we can now filter for our role, which we call superior. And here we can see we've got our superior contributor role, and the type is a custom role. So which means we are now able to assign the superior contributor custom RBAC role to any resource within the subscription. So it doesn't have to be at the subscription level. It's also inherited downwards, for example, the resource groups or even the resources within the resource groups within the subscription. We are now able to assign this role to any of those users. And there you have it. It's as simple as that, how to create a custom role-based access control rule in Azure by using the Azure GUI. Thanks guys, and see you in the next video.